But for me, what changed with respect to FEIH was a specific date, and that was January 16th of this year. And on January 16th of this year, I found myself in Honduras. I found myself in Honduras with Ramiro and with Kathy and with Debbie and Jordan and Maggie and Felicia Greenfield. And we were down there because we were having the ribbon cutting for our first school. And I wasn't going to say this, but just as an aside, we were here last year, and we talked about building that first school. But for that first school to truly be a reality now, it's amazing. And not only that, but as it said in the video, we've already started. This month, we started building our second and third schools. And with the money that we've raised tonight, we're going to go on to the fourth and fifth and sixth. And it's really just an amazing thing that has grew out of the hard work of one individual and the caring of one individual. But here we were in Honduras. And we woke up on the morning of January 16th. And at 8 o'clock in the morning, it was probably already 80 degrees in the sun. It is hot in Honduras. I learned that quickly. And we jumped into pickup trucks, because that's how you travel around Honduras. And we started driving. And the first thing that we noticed was, as we moved down the road, it got poorer and poorer. The paved road turned into gravel. The gravel turned into dirt roads. The dirt was kicking up dust. And all of a sudden we stopped. And we stopped because there was this dried out creek. And to get around it and navigate it, it took time. So we had to stop and they had to be careful. And we found out that that creek was really the border between the city, El Progreso Euro, and this community. This creek also, in the rainy season, wasn't dry. It would overflow. And people couldn't get in and out of this community when it overflows. So we kept going, and we came through the dust. And what you saw, and which I had never experienced, was pure poverty, right? We had stray dogs and livestock running around. You had kids in bare feet. The houses, and all the houses for some reason were on our left, they weren't even houses. They were sort of structures. It was a concrete wall on one side and an aluminum fence on the other with a makeshift roof to keep the sun out on hot days and try to keep the rain out when it rains. The kids, you could tell, they're looking for what's their next meal. Right? Can they eat a nutritional meal? Where are they going to go? The parents are looking for work. And you saw the pictures in the video. And as we kept moving down and we got to the school, I think we were all choked up. We all realized that something incredible was going to be happening. And let's put in perspective what the school was. There were 2 classrooms before we got there, with dirt floors, no desks, no blackboards, no electricity, no fans, no ventilation. The roofs had holes in it, so if it rained, the kids couldn't go to school. These 2 classrooms were supposed to house grades 1 through 6, which meant the kids have to go to school in shifts. They're not even in school all day long. They had 2 bathrooms that were so dilapidated that the boys wouldn't use them, and the girls a lot of the times wouldn't even go to school. That's the school where these children in this community were going to. And when we showed up, we saw what FEIH did and what all of you did with your support. We had 6 brand new classrooms. We had real floors. We had desks and chairs that were made by local artisans. There were fans, there was electricity, there was ventilation, there were blackboards, there was a map of the world, so these kids could see in the world that they lived in. There was a roof, so the sun wouldn't get in, and neither would the rain. We built 6 brand new bathrooms, right? Clean, hygienic, that were private and safe and had locks on them. We gave out book bags to each of the kids that had school supplies. They had clothes or uniforms and shoes made by local artisans. And these kids took these book bags and they grabbed onto them like they were life preservers if they fell into the ocean and couldn't swim. And then Ramiro had come to us because we saw this one thing. He came to the board before we finished building the school, and he said, I think we should put a playground in. And the board's question was, which is responsible, well, how much does it cost, right? And like everything in Honduras, not a lot. So we said, sure, we'll throw that in. But that wasn't a throw-in. When we got there and the kids started to show up, the joy on their faces, the smile on their faces, they jumped onto this playground. Okay? Young and old, big and small, they were on this playground, and they played on this playground from the morning until night. They all helped each other. The big kids helped the little kids. They shared. They got in line. The parents, on the other hand, were sitting in the shade. And they were sitting in the shade because they never had to go over and say a word to these kids. There was no altercations. There was nothing to break up. It was just kids so excited to have this playground, so excited to be someplace that they felt safe and part of a community. And that's what we're doing. We're not just building schools. We're building communities. We're building hope. We're building opportunities. We're giving these kids the opportunity to learn. And all of you guys have done that for us. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. And now I'm going to ask Maggie McGuire to come up and say a few words.